pending another book. Now, I don't know if Soldier's gonna write another book. I don't know. But what I do know is this book left me with a lot of unanswered questions. See, I'm back on my bullshit. In April of 1999, activist and member of the hip-hop group Public Enemy, Sister Souljah blew the top off the literary world by releasing The Coldest Winter Ever, which is her first novel. The Coldest Winter Ever introduced a lot of us for the first time to urban fiction and thus began a love for the urban fiction genre in the Black community. The Coldest Winter Ever follows Brooklyn-born Winston Santiago as she navigates being a daughter of a kingpin, Ricky Santiago. Okay, like they run the block in Brooklyn. We were New York. They ran Brooklyn, okay? And luckily for Souljah, the crime, the grittiness of the Brooklyn, New York streets sucked all of us in and created a hellacious fan base of readers dedicated to Winston Santiago and The Coldest Winter Ever. So much so that we waited 20 years for a sequel. 20 years. Fast forwarding to March of 2021, Souljah released the highly anticipated sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever, Life After Death. Now, it was said A Deeper Love Inside, which was the second novel that Souljah released, which followed the story of Portia, her sister, was marketed as the novel, but we very clearly came to see that that was not the case. Life After Death was followed by Love After Midnight, which was released in October of 2024. And in my opinion, neither were very well received. Not as received as we anticipated them to be. So let's unpack and rummage through my thoughts on Love After Midnight and how I feel about it. I have a theory, and I don't care. I'm going to continue to run with it. I feel like either Souljah wrote The Coldest Winter Ever and A Deeper Love Inside, and then had ghostwriters for Love After Midnight and Life After Death, or vice versa. She had ghostwriters for the first two books, and she wrote the last two. Because there is no way, and I'm saying this as a Souljah fan, if you follow me on social media, you know how much, okay, I'm a Souljah fan. These four books, rather, were written by different people. Like, there's no way that the same person wrote all these, like, four books. There's just no way. Also, if you see me looking off to the side, notes, because I ramble. But there's just no way, in my opinion, that these books were written by the same person. I feel like Souljah got tired of us begging her, like rabid dogs, for a sequel, and just put something out to put something out. That's just honestly how I feel about it. Life After Midnight continues to follow Winston Santiago as she is just trying to traverse this whole new world, okay? In Life After Death, we saw where she was pew-pewed and put into a coma. Now she is awake from the coma. She is out of the hospital and ready to get on with her life, okay? And a big part of that is finding love, which we all know that Winter is obsessed with. In Love After Midnight, Winter is rich, she's famous, she has signed with her brother-in-law's, her sister, Portia's husband, his management production company, and so she is being managed by him, and she now has a new reality show. This reality show follows her life. I'm not sure exactly what, because Winter don't really be doing shit, but that is not what we're here to talk about. First things first, I got this book as a ARC. I got it sometime in the summer. I can't exactly remember when, but it was the summer prior to the release in October. And even though I still have the feelings that I have about Life After Death, okay, you can go check that out. I'll link it. I still had some hope. I still had some hope for Love After Midnight. And part of me wanted to believe that this was going to be the rebound book, that this was going to be the book that we all have really been truly anticipating. Just to be quite frank with you, just for me to be disappointed again. I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm a Souljah's fan, but I'm not one of those fans where I love everything that the person that I fangirl about does. These two books, I'm working on a video that will go up next week that's going to be talking about our OG urban fiction writers. So, Terry Woods, Omar Tyree, which was the whole reason that video was made, Sister Souljah, Terry McMillan, and all of the other contributing factors to urban fiction being the genre that it is today. And how I feel like some of them, not all of them, but some of them have lost the plot. And what I mean by lost the plot is it seems like there was no evolution that happened with their fan base and with their loyal supporters. Because let's be frank, like I stated earlier, we waited 20 years for a sequel from Souljah. All of us were locked in. All of us was ready. All of us had our dollars clutched in hand, ready for this book to come out. And I feel like Souljah kind of banked on that because she knew that all of us wanted this, right? And because of that, I feel like, honestly, and again, no disrespect at all, I feel like she just put something out to put it out. So I have in my notes here, I divided everything up into sections, right? The first section is what I felt worked well. Absolutely nothing. I don't feel, in my personal opinion, because there are people out here who love this book. There are people out here who loves Love After Midnight. It didn't do it for me. It just didn't. And so I wrote nothing, period, moving on. Like, that's the gist of that. What could be better? I wrote everything, but I also listed some things. So let's get into this list. Okay. The main issue that I had with this book was there was no direction whatsoever. The book was all over the place. There were things in the book that just didn't make sense. Now, I'm a fan of reading some books that leaves questions pending another book. Now, I don't know if Soldier's gonna write another book. I don't know. But what I do know is this book left me with a lot of unanswered questions. It left me with a lot of plot holes. This is literally one of those situations where I feel like the plot was lost. Because halfway through the book, I was like, what is the plot? Okay. Also, I'm the type of person where if a book is that good to me, I am going to not put this book down. Y'all, it took me almost a month to read this book. It has never, ever taken me a month to read any book. Okay, ever. There's just, if a book is that good, it's going to be hard for me to put it down. But there was no direction. It just, the characters, which we'll get into in a second, the plot was just all over the place. It just didn't seem like there was a point to this story. Also, this book had little to nothing to do with Midnight. At all. I think the most that Midnight played a part in this book was the fact that he had custody of Winter's sisters, her twin sisters. Outside of that, Midnight have nothing to do with this book, like, whatsoever. The second thing that I feel is Winter regressed. And like I said earlier, there is a group of us, okay, who is here for the shits. We're here for the shenanigans. We're here for Winter and her fuckery, right? But personally, I did expect some growth. I expected there to be a little bit of something. And it was giving that, like, Winter stopped mentally aging at the age that she went to prison in. Like, that's what it's giving. It's giving, like, she didn't mentally progress higher than that. And it's very evident in the way that she thinks, in the way that she navigates being a celebrity. Like, she's still selfish. Another thing that really bothered me in this book is she didn't really mention her mom. Like that. There was a part in the book where her and her dad went to visit her mom's gravesite, and she was everything but annoyed. Like, she didn't want to be there. She didn't understand why they were there. She was ready to go. And I was just like, yo, like, you remember in the coldest winter ever? I hate to say it like this, but Lana, which is Winter's mom, didn't really have much of a value in the book. And I know now, like, if you have the collector's edition of The Coldest Winter Ever, there is a I guess, kind of like a guide in the back talking about all the characters. And that's one thing that Souljah said about Lana. She was written to not have a purpose. She was written to be a empty shell of just vain beauty and arm candy. And that's how I feel like Winter looks at her, because I don't feel like, other than get money, run these pockets, be pretty, like, her mom didn't really teach her anything other than that. Also, I'm working on a video right now talking about Ricky and Winter's relationship as father and daughter. It's giving weird. What's going on? Okay, we'll talk about that later in another video though. But Winter regressed, and everything has to be her way. And when it's not, she makes stupid decisions. There's parts in the book where she's literally going back and forth with her brother-in-law because she doesn't understand why she can't make decisions for herself, why she has to have security and bodyguards. And her brother's like, girl, because you don't make good decisions. This is not 1993, Pookie Butt, okay? Not to say that it wasn't dangerous back then, but girl, like, it went up a couple of levels, okay? Like, and you out here wilding, not making the best decisions, okay? And of course, we're going to talk more in depth about these, because the spoiler review, I'm going to go, like, chapter by chapter or every 2 chapters, and we're going to really break it down and break it apart. But this is just the overview. But even given the beginning of the book, how she met one of the characters, Pretty, and how they spent their night. Like, girl, you don't make the best decisions, okay? Third, I wrote, I didn't understand, still can't comprehend and grasp what the point of her ex-friends being in this book. Because I don't know about y'all, as for me in my house, if there were people that I was incarcerated with that I knew from the block that had betrayed me or I had betrayed them, ain't no making up, Mookie, to that level that was portrayed between her and her friend group. Baby, ain't no making up. Okay? Here we go with the dots. Ain't no making up. And quite frankly, if we are in a situation where it looks like we're making up, it looks like we're cool, baby, don't trust me. Y'all have y'all own agendas. Cool beans. But another part of that, a part of them being in this book, is Winter is trying to figure out who pew-pewed her. And I distinctively remember reading, I can't remember if it was at the end or the beginning of Life After Death. They told us, or Souljah told us, who pew-pewed her. So, I guess it was one of those things where it's like the audience knows, but Winter may not know. I don't know. I can't remember if Winter knew or not. I need to go research that. But it was this long drawn out thing about who was going to be on the reality show with her, and that was all dependent on her figuring out who pew-pewed. It was just a whole bunch of unnecessary mess. Like, it just didn't, even down to the way that this book was written, y'all, like, this did not sound like Souljah. And I know as writers, as we, get older, and as we, like, the more that we write, our tone changes sometimes, but this sounded so left field from what Souljah wrote with the coldest winter ever, and even with A Deeper Love Inside, to where it was uncomfortable for me to read. It was very wordy. It was a lot. This book was a lot to digest. And I think that's why, outside the fact that I was bored to tears, I think that's why it took me so long to read it, because it was just a lot to chew on. Now let's talk about some of these random characters. We have the randomest character of all, Pretty. Okay? Pretty is somebody that Winter met at the beginning of the book. I'm not going to spoil how she met her, but she met her in some real sketchy circumstances. Spent a very sketchy night with her, and then they were hanging on and off throughout the book. I still don't understand the purpose of Pretty. If somebody understands the purpose of Pretty in the comments, please let me know. I do not understand the purpose of Pretty. Bullet from The Coldest Winter Ever even makes a guest appearance. If you remember who Bullet was the reason that Winter went to jail. Okay, Bullet was her boyfriend at the time. They had a very weird relationship, and he pops back up in this book as well for a very, very short period of time. But Another one of those random characters that I'm not understanding why they were in this book. Remember, there was a point where at the end of the Dakotas, whatever, or toward like the middle towards the end, where Winter finds out that she has a brother because her dad is a. Anyway, she has a brother, and this brother also makes a guest appearance in this book. Don't know why he's in the book. Okay, the way that Winter treated him, I was like, yo. Why is he here? Why bring him into the fold to treat him like this? Like, I am so very confused. The most random character of all, which we did not get introduced to like damn near the end of the book, was her love interest. I'm not even, because this is a spoiler-free review, I'm not even going to get into the bullshit that was the end of this book, okay, and what ended up happening with her and the love interest. If there was any point where my mind was blown, and I don't mean it in a good way, it was this interaction with this love interest. She's dating this rapper, I guess. I guess that's what you want to call him. And their interactions, the dialogue, like, that's the best way that I could put it. And then for all of these weird ass things to happen, and then what happens at the end of the book with them, I was just like, yo, what was the point? And maybe I need to reread it, because people are like, no, y'all just not read it in between the lines. Why do I need to read in between the lines? Why? This ain't that type of book. Okay? Like, personally, this is what I think. Because I was watching an interview, or was I reading an interview? One of the two, where Souljah was talking about how she had no plans to write a sequel for The Coldest Winter Ever. She said that The Coldest Winter Ever was supposed to be a cautionary tale, and she doesn't feel like it turned out that way. She feels like instead of it being a cautionary tale, it turns some girls into winter a little bit, okay? And because of that, because it wasn't seen as a cautionary tale, which I don't understand how you were the authority on whether we felt like it was a cautionary tale or not, because I read it as a cautionary tale. Like, that just wasn't who I wanted to be. So it was much caution that was instilled in me because of reading that book. But I digress. I don't feel like she wanted to write it. I don't feel like she had, obviously she said she didn't have plans to write it, but even with that, I feel like it was just kind of like, here. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if there was some contractual situations where she had to write it. Like, I don't know. I heard there's a book coming out about Ricky, and maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment, but I've always wanted to know Ricky's story. And I feel like I'm going to kick myself for saying that, because I said the same thing about Midnight, and I cannot stand none of the Midnight books whatsoever. I think I tried to read all of them. Couldn't do it. So I'm interested to see this Ricky situation. I would much less want to hear, or more so rather hear about Lana, Winter's mom, because I feel like, how did you come to be Mrs. Ricky Santiago? But all in all, like, this just, again, I'm in the process of editing this video that will go up next week about our OG writers, and I just feel like the plot was lost, and this was a prime example of they're losing the plot, because y'all are killing your fan base. Like, and even Souljah's response to people not liking the book was kind of like you basically called us stupid. And I just feel like, if a majority of your audience and your readers are saying the same thing, like, I didn't understand this book, for you to call us stupid, that's not how you keep your fan bases. That's all I'm saying. Like, because we're going to talk about Mr. Tyree as well. Sir, in an hour and some change, you lost your entire fan base. Okay? So, if you have read Love After Midnight, let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you didn't enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts on the characters, on the plot. I want to know what you guys think about this book. all of these tabs you see right here, all these annotation tabs are WTF moments. Okay, so let me know down in the comments. Also, again, I am going to be making a spoiler inducing review that is going to be broken down. Like, I'll probably do every 2 chapters. Just go through and do a deep dive of the chapter, and we'll talk about it and discuss it that way. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you want to get book reviews and things, anything that I post on this YouTube channel actually first before the regular folks get it, make sure you subscribe to my email list found down below. You can find all my links down below, my TikTok, the Instagram, all of it. Okay, I hope you guys have had an amazing start to 2025. I hope you're reading some good books. Also, let me know what y'all are reading down in the comments. I'm interested because I'm always looking for some new to read. Right now, I am on a Brandon Massey kick. He is a thriller writer. Oh my goodness, y'all. But we'll talk about that when we do the what I've been reading TBR video. Until next time, be great, get rest, stay all the way alive, and with everything be intentional, have the reading experience that you deserve, okay? I will see y'all next time. Peace.